What's up, Valiantpreneurs? Welcome back to Valiant Volumes. This is your host and CEO, Dan Spotsville.
And I'm Michaela Mitchell.
And if you are a first time listener, this is a volume where you're going to hear us talking about digital marketing, entrepreneurship, business, how we grow this agency, but most importantly, how we kick ass in life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you see, I add a little something to it.
No, I think that
Just
was
a little
perfect.
something, something.
Absolutely. Cheers. Clap,
Yeah,
clap, clap.
clap, clap.
Well, today's episode, I had a couple of hot topics in the digital marketing world
Ooh,
that I want.
sizzle.
Yes.
Give her that sizzle. Caesar, give her the sizzle.
What is it? It's like the on the border when you have the fajitas come out.
There you go. He's definitely going to put it in there for us.
Oh, I hope
Yeah.
so. But before we get into all of that, you
Uh-huh.
had a client come into town this week.
Oh, yeah. I could touch on that
Yeah.
a little bit. So, this is our first client that flew into town that allowed us to take him to dinner
This year or ever?
this year.
I was like,
2024.
That's
Like,
amazing.
With the amount of clients that we've been, partnering up with and working with, I guess I was surprised yesterday, when we took them out to dinner. I was like, oh, this is the first client this year that we're taking out to dinner. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? For the just based on the amount of clients that we have, you would think that it would happen like the second week of January or something.
Yeah.
But everybody's usually so like our clients typically, this, like they'll fly in the night before and then, they'll get settled in. The next morning they're at the shoot, but because they're so busy, that same, late afternoon, they're out of here. But these particular clients, decided to stay in town and they allowed us to take them to dinner. So I thought dinner was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it was really cool that they also had the opportunity to sit at a conference table with the Valynt team and actually do their onboarding meeting too, because
Yeah.
that's facilitated over Zoom more often than not. But like,
90% of the time it has been the last 12 months.
it's just so much more collaborative to sit across from somebody because you don't feel like you're speaking out of turn. Like on a Zoom, you feel like you have to like wait until there's that
Yep.
just enough pause or the lag's not there. But at a table, you can cut in and say something like, "Oh wait, clarify this," and it's not totally interrupting the Zoom of like, "Wait, did somebody say something?"
Yeah, it's totally a different vibe, being
Yeah.
in person. And yeah, I feel like it's just better. Like I don't want everything to be like in person because then it's just a lot of work. But
Yeah.
I do like some of these to be in person. I mean, if the look at the end of the day, I like to meet our clients. Shaking hands like old school. Shake the hand, look them in the eye, kind of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hey, a handshake can tell a lot about
yeah,
a person.
for sure. Yeah, we can get into that, but I do hate those weak ass handshakes though. Like that shit annoys me.
Is that part of your like vetting process when
Yeah,
you interview people?
probably. Probably.
Okay, well let's skip the details there and
Yeah.
go straight into some of the topics I had.
Okay.
One of the overarching themes is AI in marketing. I know that's a hot topic we've touched on before and how we implement it. But more specifically, you shared an episode of Andy Frisella with me recently where he does touch on how AI could take people's jobs. I know you shared it with me because you disagree with that. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I think look, I love Andy Frisella and what he stands for and the things that he say. And I just on this topic, like I just didn't agree with everything he said. I do agree that AI is going to take away jobs. I mean, it's already happening. It's happening today. It happened yesterday. It happened last month. So it's not nothing new, especially for those people that are on the latter side of things, where they are very tech driven and their company uses, technology to be able to service their clients or, build their product or whatever, right? So I think, with what he said is that look, they're coming after us like, these AI companies. Look, I don't want to paraphrase them or anything like
Yeah.
that. But like I think the point here is that, AI is going to take your job depending on what industry you're in. Like I could give you a great example. If you're in a call center, I just know AI softwares that we even have access to that will pick up the phone when the customer calls for, questions or whatever. Um, your job's going to be eliminated. And like if you have a call center of like 1,000 people, then they're going to insert this AI software because here's how they're going to do it. And I can tell you in a nutshell, they're going to take all the recordings that they've recorded because they record your phone calls, right, with the potential customers or the current customers. They're going to load that into this AI platform, whatever platform that they're using. um, and it learns all of it. So like when a client calls, because at a call center, you're only going to have a certain type of conversation with these customers, right? Because you offer a certain product or service. So if you take 10 years worth of recordings and put it into this AI, the AI is going to know what to say exactly to the customer that comes in. And to
Mm.
be quite frank with you, the AI is not going to have an attitude. the AI,
Oh,
the, the,
I didn't even think about
the
that.
AI is not going to have a bad day. And so I personally think it's not a bad thing. Now, that said, some of the listeners might be, wait, look, you don't care about the people losing their job? Of course I do. But then again, you got to be able to adapt, right? That's has been the case in history. Like if I can just give you a quick analogy here, because AI is coming in, call center staff is going to be reduced, right? But then simultaneously on the flip side, there is going to be new positions opening, right, within that call center to monitor the AI prompters, software engineers, and whatever the case may be. Um, but to give you an example, like when new technology comes out, I mean, isn't it basic as people that were selling horses, and then the car came out, and then horse sales went down. So like if you were in that vertical, like you can't sell horses, so like you had to switch gears and do something else, sell something else, right? Or like the cab drivers. I think the cab drivers are a better example.
Okay.
You were driving a cab, Uber came out. It benefited people on one side. It gave people jobs. Uber and Lyft and some of these like DoorDash type of things gave people jobs. But then also it simultaneously took people's job away. I know I read an article, several, when this transition was happening with the technology and the new app that came out, to where cab drivers actually ended up making more doing Uber and Lyft, and they felt like they treat it's not all bad. Look, all of the bad conversations everybody knows about, but a lot of times you don't hear about the good conversations on cab drivers saying like, "Yep, I converted over here. It gives me more time with my family. I'm not on the clock like this." So there's a lot of benefits that happen too with Uber and Lyft. There's always a winning side and a losing side. It's very hard at scale to have a winning side only. It doesn't happen that way. And this is going to be the same thing for AI driven, this tech that's coming into every vertical. AI is going to be in every single vertical.
Yeah.
We already use it here at Valynt Digital. You know that.
Right. There was a quote that I read in an article that was like, AI is not going to take everyone's job, but people who understand and have learned AI will take your job. So like keeping up to date with how to use the technology rather than just like, woe is me, the technology is going to take my place. And I think Jagger explains it really well in one of our previous episodes, where he's talking about how it's compared to like people's fear of like the calculator. Is the calculator going to like make us just dumber and not be able to like do math? No,
Right.
the calculator allowed us
Yeah.
to do more advanced math.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not also look at the like AI and whatever vertical it is? 'Cause
Yeah.
artificial intelligence can mean so
Mm-hmm.
much. But why not look at it as a tool to advance humans? And so like as you were speaking, I was thinking about like the call center job. To me, I would feel kind of unfulfilled if that was my day-to-day role. And instead of looking at like AI replacing my job, why not look at that as for a reason for me to find like more fulfillment in something else? Like if AI can just do
Sure.
this, great. That gives me the opportunity to maybe advance into the next level where now the AI can do that job for me. I can advance my skill set into something else rather than feeling
Mm-hmm.
complacent about the fact that my skill set's replaceable.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
well,
think, but I
what's the
think you
next
just
level of
nailed it.
that?
Like those people that think in that light of like, oh, I'm being replaced, probably doesn't have that much drive or ambition. And I'm not saying all people, so I'm not trying to say like everybody at a call center doesn't have ambition. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But like to the point that you're making, this is going to bring you opportunity. Like, look, they're not teaching all of this across every university out there. So, but there are courses that you can go to. I think it was Amazon, right? And Google offering like courses on AI. You can literally get certified and pick up a job that probably pays double of what you're making at the call center if you're willing to do that. So like you got to do your own research. And these courses will, depending on how fast you do it, you will probably knock it out in like 4 to 6 months. Like and then get paid like 80,000 a year, 100,000 a year. But you gotta want to do it is obviously it's gotta line up with you wanting to get into that line of work But I mean, the opportunities out there. I think you can look at it either way. You can always spin everything that's happening in life
Oh yeah.
in negative or positive, you know?
Yeah.
And it's no different with AI. Look, I'll give you a real life example.
Okay.
We use AI driven softwares to write copy, right? But we still add the human element touch on it. But I think it's good for our clients because what used to take us, a week and a half to do, we can knock it out in a shorter period of time. And this AI software allows us to put the client's website up there, the pitch deck in there, other like content material, and then it'll kind of do the research for us. So one, it saves us our copywriters time on doing client research, and then two, it gives us like the layout and groundwork of the copy where we can work from. And from there, where we have the account manager slash copywriter add in that human touch, and boom, like copy's done. And look, and these copies we've been using for the last let's say 8 months, maybe a little bit longer, but at least 8 months. It's generating leads, it's generating sales. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it works. So like, I mean, nobody else can convince me here.
Yeah.
I don't care who comes to me. Nobody can convince me that AI is not good for business, because it is good for business.
Yeah. It's just all the little things that take a human much longer time just to get to the point of that conversion, whatever that conversion may be.
Hmm.
The copy needs to be written so that the ad can be
Yeah.
created so that it can be put in front of the person that's going to
Right.
make the investment.
Yeah.
Why not expedite that process just
Yeah.
a little bit without having to compromise like
Right.
how good it
What
is?
if that research takes us 3 hours, and if it's a human doing the research to lay out that summary for that particular copy we're trying to write for a particular client? What if it's a human thing and we miss those things? But with the AI, I mean, it's not like it gets tired or something. It'll read the entire thing, and it won't miss the topic that we should insert into a copy. So it almost, for the way I look at it, it serves as like a proofreader almost of all the research that we have to do, and gives our copywriter and our team exactly where we need to work off of. It gives us a great framework of reference and a point of reference to where we start writing the copy from. So
Yeah.
and look, I look at AI as an enhancer that
Mhm.
helps you get to that place where if you have a goal set, it helps you get there much faster.
Yeah.
And everything's not about being fast, I get that, but
Right.
it does help
Yeah.
if you know how to use it.
Yeah. I was gonna try and make a joke there at the end about like
Uh-huh.
something with like AI being evil, but
Okay.
like dun dun dun, if you know how to use it, it's not the point.
Yeah. What do you
Um,
think about AI? Like, what is your thought?
I mean, I use it on a day-to-day basis.
You do,
Just,
right?
yeah,
Oh,
just
okay.
to like improve my own processes. Like whenever I'm, yeah, so whenever I'm like writing an email, I know the point I need to get across. I need you to attend a meeting with me to talk about this piece of branding, this piece of operations, and my goals for this year. It's very straightforward. But whenever I put in when I put those details into like ChatGPT, for example, write me an email to my boss about these things that we're going to accomplish in the meeting I'm requesting from him.
Hmm.
The AI then turns it into something that's a lot more like it doesn't add, depending on how you prompt AI, it can be fluffier, it can be more casual, it can be very, very
Sure.
to the point, but it just adds in those little elements that like if I'm writing this email in a moment of like stress because random things are happening throughout the day, like it removes that bias I have in that moment or the feeling that I have in that moment and like helps me craft something that just a little bit more user friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a way to help make my life easier in writing something that's
Hmm.
good for like the person on the other end to
Yeah.
read, whether that be like a blog post, an email, or just, hey, I just need to help making this point better for me. AI has helped me through that, like on a day to day basis. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. No, I follow you 100%. The way I use AI for email is like, when I'm writing like to, like our council, or if I'm writing something to our team members, like I'll write out like, hey, this is what I need to get across. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll write like 5 or 6 sentences, and then I'll put it in the prompt. So I have this prompt that I insert, and then copy and paste what I just wrote, and it'll just craft it for me. Because like for me, like I know traditionally, like when I'm writing an email, that's like my approach. So like I can't write. I typically don't write the way it should be the first time around. So it takes me like 3 to 4 changes. Like I have to go back and read it, go back and read it, go back and read it. So like that time frame I no longer have.
Mm.
So like I understand it, and it doesn't affect me in any way. Like it's not like I'm getting dumber or anything because I'm
Yeah.
using like AI. I think some people here, probably listening, um, feel like I think I can compare it to video games. Like, I don't know if it's a good comparison, but like our parents used to say, like, you'll get stupid if you play video games.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's the same thing. I think some people think that if you use AI, you're not going to be smart or like you're going to get dumber. That's not the case. Like, you're actually, I almost look at it as having like a personal assistant too. Like, I look at it that way. So
Yeah.
I give him my subjects and I say, hey, this is the goal, rewrite it, and boom, within like 15 seconds, like literally, I can copy and paste it and then just send it out.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a tool that I can use to learn how to communicate better too. Because, like, let's be honest, email in itself is a form of communication that's like in its own category. Like, we can sit here and have a conversation that if I were to text this conversation to you or email it to you, it would be totally different.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm still getting the same point across, whether we're on the phone, texting, emailing, whatever it is. But, like, it's helping me put my thoughts into the proper form that they need to be.
Yeah.
And I can even like customize it in a sense of I'm emailing a lawyer. I'm emailing a client who's a little sensitive about direct feedback. And the AI could actually change how it's written to better read for that person who might be sensitive to feedback, even though
Right.
it's the same point that's being given, you know? So
Yeah, I
feel like
understand that.
it's a tool to help me communicate better,
There you go.
not a handicap.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And that's just the way we look at AI. I think not everybody's going to agree with us, but we like to we sit on the positive side of things and we look at the there's a reason, there's a way to use it positively versus like looking at the negative.
Yeah.
Negative, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to hear if there's any Valyntpreneurs out there that are, listening, watching, see how they use AI in their
Yeah.
business, or
Just
how,
comment.
if they have questions about how to implement it in their business that maybe we haven't talked about, because I think
Yeah.
it's totally applicable for all industries. So
Yeah,
let us know
that
your
goes
thoughts.
that goes into consulting, like I think it's interesting that I don't know, like some people just don't know how to use AI in their business. Like that just blows my mind. Like
I thought
at the very surface level, like it's very basic and straightforward
yeah,
how you can implement it in your business, but maybe it's not like that for everyone.
I was naive to think that like it's a age thing to know it. But
not.
I was talking to my best friend. She's 3 years older than I am. And I brought up ChatGPT and she had no idea what that was.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
even like my sister is a lot less familiar with it than I am. But that's just because it's not in her day-to-day conversation. I mean, my sister's going to
Yeah.
school to be a doctor, and my best friend's like in more of a traditional type of advertising
Yeah.
like job. But I thought it was age. You might know
Maybe
these
we're
certain
just cooler.
things. Cooler.
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 That didn't even sound cool as shit.
I
Cooler.
know. I realized on one of our previous like episodes, I said, "No, see, I'm hip," and then I immediately felt like, "Fuck, that's
Okay,
not,
that's how it felt right just now.
that's not hip."
I felt that way.
So switching gears to something that is hip.
Yeah,
Recently on TikTok,
Oh, TikTok.
music has been stripped from like
Whoa.
TikTok. Universal Music Group
Okay.
and TikTok had an agreement that ended on January 31st and has pulled Universal Music Group has pulled all of their music from TikTok because they can't come to terms on how the royalties should be shared, is my understanding of it.
Right.
And so they've just said all of our music's gone. So like artists like Taylor Swift, Drake, Bad Bunny, none of their music is on TikTok anymore, just to use at all.
To be able to use. Okay.
Which I think is so interesting because this last like 2 years, I would say since COVID, really, TikTok has been the platform for me to find new music. Not because I'm watching music videos, but because as I'm scrolling through watching any type of video, there's typically some type of music in the background.
Right.
But it's also like a pretty cool platform to promote your up and coming music, whether you're signed with a label. I've even seen people like get signed with labels because they become popular. Jagger was even telling me the other day that somebody we were playing on The Office on Spotify, they blew up on TikTok recently, and because of how much traction they were getting on TikTok, they started to just book huge venues.
Okay.
And like there was no other build up besides their music became popular on TikTok. And so now it's interesting that like big organizations
Hmm.
that have a control of like music saying
Hmm.
can't use
Yeah.
TikTok. So like, what are your thoughts
I
on
have a
that?
couple thoughts
Okay.
actually. So like it doesn't let me this is a question to you. It doesn't mean that these artists can't play their music on TikTok, right? It's just that group of like people underneath that record label or like that organization or the company can't, like, no longer their music, like Drake or Taylor Swift or something like that. Their music's not going to be on TikTok, correct? For people to be able to use when they create their story, like as a BGM or background music.
Hmm.
Is that correct?
That's my
But like a
understanding.
regular artist can still post their stuff, and it can play and it can be used by other people. You know what I mean? When they create their stories and add that music in there when they're doing whatever they do on TikTok.
Yeah. So that is
Mm-hmm.
correct that the artist affiliated with that record label, like their music can't be on there.
Mm-hmm.
There is one thing I'm a little unclear about that I should definitely do some more
Mm-hmm.
research into.
Yeah.
There was an artist that had previously been on one of the different countries, like The Voice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up not going very far, but she then, like 2 years later,
Mm-hmm.
um, started really blowing up on TikTok. I mean, she's
Mm-hmm.
toured with different like festivals and stuff. And she's the first person that I saw actually bring up the fact that music was no longer going to be as advertised on TikTok
Mm-hmm.
as it previously was.
Sure.
So I don't know how it trickles down to other types of artists or other types of labels, but the big one is Universal Music Group pulling that agreement, or not pulling, but their agreement ending and not renewing
Gotcha.
it. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, I do have some thoughts here though.
okay.
This will tie back. You'll be like, oh,
Oh,
remember yesterday we were talking about intellectual properties?
IP.
Yeah,
Mhm.
IP. And our client yesterday, their whole thing is on IP. He made a shit ton of money, from what I understand, through.
It was a fuck ton. Is what they
Oh,
said.
oh, that is what they said. Okay, not a shit ton. Okay, fuck
Yeah.
ton. So they made money through correctly, uh, going through the process to take something and make it an intellectual property, and then allowing the masses to use it, right? Like in a nutshell, that's what the disagreement is, right? So this company, the music or record label, has intellectual property on the music for the artists on behalf of the artists, and then they can't come to an agreement on what they get paid every time the song plays or something like that. That's just at a very surface level. That's what I'm understanding,
Yes.
right? So like, I mean, I guess what I'm saying with that is like, well, if they can't come to an agreement, it is what it is. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know what else to say to that besides the fact that, I mean, if they own the IP on it, then
Hmm.
what? I mean, how does it
Well,
affect? I guess how does it affect the people that are on TikTok? I don't think it affects them. Does it affect them that you can't use a Drake song or a Taylor Swift song?
yeah, because sometimes I'm feeling like Taylor Swift and I want to have
No.
her music on a
Or
TikTok.
like, oh, you won't have it anymore, like a Taylor Swift like trending TikTok or something like that,
That I
or
mean,
like
that's
the
a piece.
music or something.
Yeah, that's a piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm gonna kind of tie this
Mm-hmm.
into digital marketing in a way because
Sure.
like with the music piece, the users are annoyed that they can't have certain music on there.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we're running ads, there's so many times that changes happen on a platform and it's frustrating because like now we can't use that same type of our audience or something like that. Like these
Mm-hmm.
free platforms that we use make changes and it like pisses off the people.
Yeah.
But like
Mm-hmm. I
how
see
do
where
we
you're
even
going with
have
this.
okay?
Yeah, I think the key word here is free. I think people forget, like, you're not paying to use the platform. You know what I mean?
Like TikTok,
Yeah,
Facebook,
like you're
Meta.
not paying them to use the platform. Like, sure, like I think Meta came out with like paying every month to have that like blue check or something. And
Oh yeah.
advertisers are using it, but at the core of it, like, people just like, this is just the way I look at it. Look, again, it's not the right way to look at it for all people, but at the core of it, I understand that you put in the work if you're like an influencer, or if you make a living off of like social media. I understand the amount of work that you've put in.
Hmm.
Like, I get that. It's no different than building a business that is, sustainable. It takes a lot of work. I think, one, people underestimate the fact how much time these people actually spend to build a following and to build trust and credibility amongst their followers, especially if they're doing it right, and then pushing products or services that they feel could benefit the masses by them shedding light on that product or service. So, like, just let me just say that. But with that being said, you also can't forget that these platforms are free.
Yeah.
You were able to make a living and make money off of a free platform that you had to pay nothing for, and they gave you this platform,
Yeah.
right, for free. So like if they make changes that you don't agree with, I mean, what do you expect people to say? Like, go find a different platform, or you know, go build your own.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds harsh, but like I don't like that's just the way I look at it. You know what I mean? It's like when I'm advertising, on a certain platform and they change the rules or they take away data, I can't be mad at that particular platform for doing that. You know what I mean? Because I didn't build it. I was just using it. I didn't
Yeah.
have to pay to use that platform. It's free.
Yeah. It's
Like just from a money standpoint is what I'm saying.
yeah. I'm just
People
like
can sit there and debate this other shit, but
I'm just like thinking about my history when it comes to using social media. Like,
mm-hmm.
what's it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
My first ever social media account was a secret Facebook account.
Okay.
Because no, but see,
Okay.
whenever I was in middle school,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook was becoming more popular. Like, I never had MySpace, right? I wasn't allowed to, but I had my
Mm-hmm.
secret Facebook account. But the whole point of it,
Oh, you're gonna get in trouble now.
no, I think they know. I mean,
Yeah.
surprise. No, I got caught. I remember that
Oh, you
now.
did?
But I
Oh.
remember them asking me, my parents asked me, like, why do you have this? Like, what is the point? It's to connect with my friends. I want to just be able to, like, connect with them, to share, like, our posts, like, what we're doing. It's to stay connected, right?
Yeah. Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah. So MySpace was the same thing. You had, like, your top, what was it, 7, 8?
Like top friend list or something like
Yeah.
that. Like you get pissed off. I remember people getting pissed off if they weren't on their top or something.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember my babysitter had her secret MySpace account, and she would like have us sitting in the room, and she'd be like, "Don't tell my mom, but like this is what MySpace is." I thought it was so cool. But it's all about connecting with friends. Facebook, connecting with friends, and then we have now it's X. It's posting your thoughts to the whole world. TikTok, your videos to everyone, which previously was Musically, and it was just all about music. Now the way that TikTok has become, I mean, influencers are a thing over the last several years, influencing you on brands, on products.
There's so much on TikTok on like people selling certain products. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it when I saw it like not too long
I mean,
ago. Like every scroll, like every other scroll is like a damn influencer trying to sell me something.
Yeah.
Or like demoing a product,
Like whether you realize it or
It's
not.
like QVC on TikTok.
Okay, wow. Yeah. No, it literally is. That's so interesting because like when I think of that, I think of the afternoon shows that no one's paying attention to, but it's like two ladies holding up a box of something.
Yeah.
Like, try
But now they
this.
do that all over TikTok and you pay attention because like you like their content and you follow them and you resonate with them somehow.
Yeah, exactly. And so like the way, I mean, TikTok shop even just like became more of a thing. And it's so interesting because these platforms that have advanced and from just like being a place to connect with family, friends, are now connecting with strangers, sharing your thoughts with the world, are now places for you to promote your thing. If it's your music, if it's your brand, being an influencer itself is a brand now. Promoting your music or your business, it is like I'm just kind of like having these thoughts like all right now,
Yeah.
but like it's a way for you to promote your thing, just like we're doing with ads.
Yeah.
Like we're
Is it
paying to promote our client of ours, of Valynt Digital, Valynt Volumes,
Yeah.
whatever it is. We have an ads manager on all these platforms, but like there are ways to do it, and TikTok is a way to gain so much traction for free.
Yeah, for free. And I think with this, like what comes to my mind is like traditionally like the QVC thing, like everybody wanted to get on QVC.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like to be able to sell their thing, right? Like I even know a movie that like portrays that, like this person's journey to trying to get it on QVC and like or like like the afternoon show where they showcase products. Like because that was the gatekeeper, right? Like there was only a handful of companies that everybody watched, like to like purchase like household products.
What does QVC stand for?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we'll look it up
Okay.
in a little bit. But like now, it's the regular people that are becoming like that QVC. So like the gatekeeping is like the gate's wide open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like marketing though. Like digital marketing opened it up for small businesses. Look, if it wasn't for digital marketing, like we wouldn't have a business here at Valynt. Because like if digital marketing wasn't a thing and I was trying to get into marketing and I had to do traditional, I just didn't have the funds to be able to spend 50 grand on a TV commercial, or, $10,000 on a billboard initially. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because digital marketing is what it is, and how it's positioned, and how it's connected to social media. Like, it's allowed us for like literally for like 2 pennies to get people to watch our videos, early on. You know what I mean? So like, I think what I'm trying to say with that is like, look, things have been shifting. It's shifting now at a much quicker rate. If you're trying to sell a product, maybe you don't want to get on QVC anymore, unless it's unless you know for a fact like they watch that show and they buy from that show. Because I personally think it's better to have a whole bunch of micro influencers pushing your product and creating a social media buzz, and you probably sell a shit ton more that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me think about,
Mm-hmm. It's like
so
distribution. It's a distribution mechanism.
yeah.
You know.
Um, do you still is Snapchat still in the picture for like any type of marketing or any type of
I. Mm-hmm.
social media, really?
I did Snapchat marketing like years ago, but like it just wasn't like advertising friendly. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it was very limited in um like the capabilities compared to some of these other platforms. So like the targeting, the way you can target just didn't apply for like the things that we were doing. I'm not saying that that fits, that's the case for everybody. For us, it didn't work. So like, I don't know too much about
Mm-hmm.
Snapchat besides those like geo targeting filters that we would use when Snapchat was popping in the business world. But I think for a lot of businesses, especially in the spaces that we're in, like Snapchat just doesn't make sense. I think it's for a whole nother segment of audiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Snapchat is like very, what do you call it? Niched in its own, like
Mm-hmm.
it's as a social media platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't hear like parents on Snapchat like doing Snapchats, like versus like you hearing like parents doing TikTok dances, or like your parents are on like Meta or
Yeah.
like Instagram or like YouTube. You don't really hear people talking about Snapchat like that.
Yeah.
You see
So
what I'm saying?
there was, I'm trying to think, it was some podcast that I was listening to. They were talking about how, oh, okay. So it was different
Mm-hmm.
generations talking about like what they used to do. And it was one lady was talking about how whenever she used to have a night out, she'd go to a party in college, um, early 2000s. They would go to a party, tons of pictures are being taken, and they're all being uploaded onto Facebook in one album. The blurry pictures, just everything. Everything's going in there. And like that was your status of, hey, I went to that party. This
Mm-hmm.
is cool, right?
Yeah.
The Gen Z correspondent is what they're called. The Gen Z person, right? Responded by saying like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is our version of that, which it's they would go to a party in college, and based on like Snapchat, because you can do like the location wise,
Oh yeah,
they
yeah,
would create a public, it's not an album, but a public story
yeah. Mm-hmm.
of that location, that party, and anyone who went to that party would be able to take their picture, take any type of image while they
Upload
were
it in
there,
there.
upload it into that shared story of the world. And that one image, no matter what it was at that geolocation on Snapchat to the story, would be like, I did the thing. I'm cool. I did it.
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
what I mean?
I understand. Yeah. Well, that's cool. See, like I don't know too much about Snapchat to
Yeah.
be able to touch on it.
It was definitely more relevant for me in college.
Mm-hmm.
Just what's around you, or even like when I was working in a bar, you can tag that you're there.
Yeah.
So it was so relevant to the within 24 hours, people can
Mm-hmm.
see like how long you've been there, if they should come see you, whatever the case may be. And I know
Yeah.
my younger cousins still actively use Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think kind of circling back to what we were talking about the ads and its usability, there's not the scrolling feature of just
Mm-hmm.
mindless to the next piece of content, which I think
Yeah.
is part of the
It's
reason.
like the way the ads get served on there. It just
Mhm.
really didn't make sense. Like people didn't really engage on it. And we didn't like, I always test out different platforms. Like I said, I'll go back to this. Like we ran ads and like we just really didn't get any type of traction. Although like we targeted exactly the same way we would on a different platform, like age, gender, income, interest. Like, look, it's like when we run our personal ads, like for Valynt ads on Meta or Instagram, the response rate is different when we run like very similar messaging to get somebody to take the same type of action on LinkedIn. We get more traction on LinkedIn naturally
Mhm.
because there's that perception for people that we're targeting that LinkedIn is a place of business still.
Yeah.
Like, they still have that mold, and they think like, hey, LinkedIn is a place for business. And sure, it's true, but like there's other things on LinkedIn outside of just business talk. You know what I mean? There's a lot more to it. But just because of where LinkedIn kind of started, we get better quality leads on that platform. But we're still getting traction on, like, we're about to launch Google AdWords. Like, it sounds probably crazy for some people, like, oh, you're not running Google AdWords. No, we just didn't run it because we just weren't ready. Like, we didn't have the capacity to take on more clients, and we do now. So
I think a good point to that, though, is
mm-hmm.
not only that, and this is something we share with our clients, it's like with Google AdWords, people need to be searching for your thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for churches, that made a lot of sense because the search words of, where to go to church, churches near me, that's something that a lot of people are searching. For some of our clients, they might have a new service, product, whatever, that's brand new to the market that people aren't necessarily searching for just yet. Yes, they might be searching for different, what do I invest 100K in? Where should I do digital marketing? But like, until we were really finding our footing in the digital marketing space for, raising capital, it didn't make sense yet.
Yeah.
What was it that we used to say in the pitch? The proactive versus reactive.
Oh yeah. So
offense, defense.
yeah, offense, defense. So like I still feel this way. Like, I feel like, from depending on how you look at it, like, we're proactively being on offense when we run social media ads through like LinkedIn, Meta, Insta, and TikTok, because we're picking and choosing people that may not know that they need the service or product that we're pushing to them. So like, that's playing offense, right? We're like going to put it in front of you without you even knowing that this thing exists, and we can make your life easier or help your business grow or whatever. Versus like Google is like, they're searching like, hey, I need this product or I need this service. So yeah, that's the defense and offense like mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to push it in front of people. Look, I'm not opposed to running Google AdWords, not at all, because like that plays. I mean, for plumbing companies and stuff like that. I mean, there's for every type of business, like, you want to be running Google AdWords. There's no play in my mind to where you don't run both. You want to run both.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, for our particular situation, like, we just haven't ran Google just yet, just because we were getting all the leads that we wanted. And for our service, like, people necessarily don't know that we exist, so they're not even searching for us, really.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like, offense makes sense.
Yeah.
We know the problem's out there, so like, we're proactively placing our messaging in front of the people that we know we can help them solve their challenges with.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that note, I think we're about time to wrap up.
Okay.
Any closing thoughts from today's conversation?
Run digital marketing ads
with Valynt Digital.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I don't care if you're a solopreneur. I don't care, like, whether it's through us or not. As an entrepreneur, as a Valyntpreneur, if you've already exhausted, and even before you exhaust your referrals and whatever, right? It's not like always expensive to run digital marketing campaigns. There are softwares out there that can help you get in front of the right businesses, and that's another solution that we're putting out there, right? The Luna software. So it's not like you always have to pay to run a successful digital marketing campaign. It might just be the fact that you just need a software or something, or maybe you need to start off by doing a text campaign, or maybe you just start off by doing an email campaign, through a certain software or something. But I do encourage people, like businesses that are looking to grow, to give digital marketing a shot, and to do your due diligence and research.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you for sharing that. I've liked doing these hot topics with you.
Yeah.
I think this is interesting, like, new piece of Valynt volumes that we're testing out. So to those Valyntpreneurs that are listening, watching, however you're consuming our content, let us know what you want to hear more of. Do you like us listening, or do you like us talking about, what's happening in the world? Do you have some questions for us you want us to answer? Topics, maybe even guests you want us to speak to? Let us know at hello@valyntdigital.com, or even in the comments on YouTube. So
until next time.
peace.